How's it going, everyone? This is eFlex and welcome back to another A Producer's Approach video. In this video, we're going to be looking at Tritonal's song, Never Be the Same, the Crystal Skies remix. So if you guys haven't watched my videos in the past, I basically break down these videos into 3 separate parts. I have an intro backstory section, then a breakdown analysis section, and then lastly an outro section. So this remix by Crystal Skies, to me, is really good. I know on the video here it says that it's future house. It actually, to me, is more of melodic dubstep. Not exactly sure how this falls into future house, but then again, I'm not a genre police person, so to each their own, I guess. But to me, this kind of reflects a lot of what melodic dubstep is. And as you guys have previously seen in one of my videos for Day One song for the Stars, that song was made around 2012, 2013, and that was kind of the beginning of what was going to become melodic dubstep. Even though that song wasn't exactly melodic dubstep, it was kind of the beginning of what melodic dubstep was going to be. And now with this song and this remix, it's more of a piece of, I guess, melodic dubstep that shows how the progression of that style has evolved over time. So the original song by Tritonal, Never Be the Same, it's a good song, but I just think Crystal Skies remix just makes it so much more emotional, dramatic, and it kind of tells the story a little bit better. This is one of those songs that personally for me, I would play live if I were to ever do a live set. Or, you know, if I were to do a melodic dubstep type of set where, you know, I have a bunch of other melodic dubstep songs in it, this would definitely be a song I would include because, I don't know, I get a lot of emotion and kind of euphoric kind of feelings from the song, and just kind of the pacing of it and the vocals. While they're not really happy, they're really good, they're really clean. And like Crystal Skies was able to take the original aspects of the song, but just kind of make it his own with his more melodic dubstep style. Because I believe that's kind of the style Crystal Skies makes, is more melodic dubstep. But anyways, this remix is really good, and we'll dive into the song now so you guys can pretty much see why I like this remix so much. So let's get it started with Tritonal's song, Never Be the Same, the Crystal Skies remix.
How come daylight is so cruel, it's so evil? I wanna hide in the dark. I keep patching up the walls of my ego, but not the holes in my heart. I'm 6 feet underground, but I'm breathing heavy. Is the thought of my freedom? There's something inside me that wants to get out. I can feel it, I'm feeling it now. I'm changing.
Alright, so just to start off the song, it's really cool. You kind of hear that guitar pluck on the bottom from what almost sounds like an acoustic guitar. Maybe it's a synthetic guitar made to sound like an acoustic guitar, but it sounds really like acoustic, like an actual guitar. The vocals come in, there's pads that kind of come in, and then after a little bit, I would say 15 seconds, then kind of the snapping percussion kind of comes in, which is really clean. And then the bass kind of comes in. More so, I'm not sure if it's like the bass line and the sub, or just kind of the bass, kind of lower end mid bass sound, which is really cool. It really kind of sets the scene. I mean, within this first 30 seconds, like, of what the song's gonna be like, and the vocals just start right off the bat, which I always like in a song as well. So, in this section coming up here, you're going to hear more of the guitars playing the chord progression and then the vocal kind of singing. And the vocal is really good. I will find out the vocalist later, or put it in the comments or description section later, but the vocalist is like really good, and the vocals are really clean. So let's keep going.
If only just a little, I'm breaking. It hurts to let it heal. I'll never be the same. No, I'll never be the same. 'Cause I'm changing. If only just a little, I'm breaking.
All right, so you kind of heard that break section, which was really good. The acoustic guitars, you kind of hear them more. To me, they sound like a live recording of an acoustic guitar playing this chord progression, which pairs so nicely with the vocals. And there's so much variation with the vocals. It's not like the same vocal hook being said. It's like different phrases from the vocalist being said in this part. And it's just starting to kind of build that, atmosphere and kind of setting the scene, I guess, in terms of what is to come. Kind of that euphoric feeling that melodic dubstep does. But I really like it when artists use more acoustic live recordings of instruments. So like that guitar, acoustic guitar playing the chord progression just sounds so clean and good. And I think aside from that, the vocals start and then the build up starting here, but then you kind of hear the more, I guess, almost theatrical kind of big kind of drums and toms, almost like that kind of are like really epic and really huge sounding, which is really cool. So that kind of builds up, and then you kind of hear the vocal chop of what the vocal hook is. It won't ever be the same. Like after the vocalist says that, then it kind of vocal hooks. That vocal kind of hook is chopped and kind of repeated, not really chopped, but repeated to where it's kind of in the build up to where you hear that a little bit more while the build up's going up. So if I missed any sounds, just let me know in the comments, but let's keep going. All right, so in that build section, I just want to point out a couple things. There is kind of a synth instrument in the background, kind of playing like a individual kind of note, kind of pluckish almost sound, like dun 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 dun. It's playing something like that in the background, and then there is some white noise, and it's more of a kind of that epic kick kind of build with the white noise. But it's also cool how the kind of white noise kind of super saws are introduced. It sounds like they're going through like a high pass filter or something, where you hear a lot of the high end, but they're slowly introduced right before the drop hits, and then there's that percussion to transition to the drop. So anyways, just wanted to point those things out, and let's keep going. All right, now that was the drop, and that was insane. So it was, in terms of percussion, halftime rhythm, where you kind of have that more traditional dubstep rhythm, but that just, exaggerates a lot of the sounds that are happening. So you have the chord progression that's happening. You have different vocal chops, and then you have different sounds kind of coming in at the end of phrases. Sometimes they're like a little mini lead, or they're wub sounds. And just the kind of euphoric feeling of the drop as the chords kind of hit, you kind of hear that vocal chop go that's kind of playing the lead of this section instead of using an actual synth sound, which is really creative and really cool. Personally, I just like how many different sounds there are in terms of like the endings of each phrases, where there's different wubs, different kind of little melodies that kind of come in to at end of phrases, almost like a calm response between the main chord and then those little responses, kind of like in complextro or in dubstep itself. And this kind of style of the glitching of the notes too is also kind of a melodic dubstep thing that you hear more so in this style than you do in more traditional heavier dubstep in the drop. So you kind of have that really euphoric, like really big saw waves, really full saw waves kind of in the chord progression, I guess you would say. And then that just kind of fills the space along with multiple different pads and the different vocal chops that are thrown in there. So this drop is just insanely good. It's one of those times where I'm just kind of bopping my head and just kind of have that euphoric feeling. But after this drop, it goes into this break section. The vocal just comes right back in with that guitar sound. So let's keep going.
In the shadows, I wanna scream till it's gone. Tell my feet they should run, but they don't follow. I think it's time to get out. I'm 6 feet underground, but I'm breathing heavy. Is the thought of my freedom? There's something inside me that wants to get out. I can feel it, I'm feeling it now.
All right, so within this section, the vocals come in, the acoustic guitar is playing, but the vocals are layered in such ways to give more emphasis on different parts of the words within the vocal phrases. Kind of like Calliope Mori's song End of Life, where she had the kind of stacked doubling vocals. You can really hear it in this part, which sounds really good. Some of the vocals are a little bit, they're not exactly the same vocal itself. It's kind of sang in a different way, or like a little bit in a different key, but within the same chord progression. Like it's just a little bit off, or just said a little bit differently, which is really nice because it pairs really well with the vocal that's currently running. So it kind of gives it some emphasis, and almost is like a duet in the sense that the vocalist is having with herself, but it's giving an emphasis with kind of that vocal layer stack within those certain sections of the words. So that's really cool. I really like it when artists are able to do that with the vocals and emphasize different parts and almost have them harmonizing with the two separate vocal sections in certain words. Like when they harmonize, it's just really nice hearing. It's just like, it just makes the song sound so much better, especially paired with that acoustic guitar on the bottom. So this break section I think is pretty similar, other than the vocal kind of harmonizations and stacking than the beginning part of the song. But I think this part of the break section is pretty similar to the kind of first section, break section, and then build up. So let's keep going. All right, so that was that break section and the build up. That break section is so good. So they continue the harmonizing vocals in this section as well, in this break section, and it varies, from the beginning break sections. It varies a little bit because that was just the vocal itself, no harmonization, no kind of vocal stacks. Where here you kind of hear the harmonizations and vocal stacks, and it's almost like there's a call and response that the artist is having with herself, kind of emphasizing those words, which is so cool. It just adds to that like euphoric feeling within this section. So that's the only thing I noticed differently. And I think in the first drop, I might have missed that the percussion into the buildup was actually a snare. It's just like a really big snare with a lot of reverb. So I just didn't notice that, but that buildup is pretty similar. But I don't think it vocal chopped that same Never Be the Same vocal within this second drop. I didn't catch it as much as I did in the first drop. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, you guys can leave in the comments, but I didn't catch it as much there. So this is going to be the second drop and the outro, and we'll talk more about the song after the song's done. So enjoy the rest of the song. All right, that was Tritonal song Never Be the Same, the Crystal Skies remix. So we'll back up a little bit to that second drop. It's pretty similar to the first drop, but what I did realize was there's a lot more harmonization. And maybe I missed that in the first drop, but there's a lot more harmonization with the vocals with the chord progression, like with the saw waves, which is like really cool because I never noticed that in the first drop. Like the vocal, I don't know if it's like a vocal word or vocal phrase. I think it was almost like a vocal syllable that is like has a lot of reverb and delay, and it just kind of plays along with the chord. Maybe the vocalist saying like an ah or something like that, something along those lines. But I heard those kind of vocal kind of syllables playing along with the chord progression, almost harmonizing with the chord progression. And then there were different vocal chops and then the kind of wubs. And I noticed that the percussion was still in halftime, but there was a little bit more going on with like the kicks and the snare. Like there was a little more kicks maybe involved with this drop. So there's like a little bit more activity from the kick drum, at least in this drop. And then, you know, there's a lot of reverb. It's pretty similar with the end of phrases having like either a melody or a wub kind of answering the phrases. Then after the second drop, it outros with the kind of vocalist kind of singing and harmonizing along. Not really saying any vocal phrases, just kind of harmonizing with the guitar playing out. And then there's kind of a percussion to end it all up and kind of, yeah. So overall, this is Tritonal's song Never Be the Same, the Crystal Skies remix. Man, I don't know what else to say to this song. I don't say this very often, but this song is just beautiful. I don't even know how to describe it other than that. Like, it's so euphoric. Every single part of this song, to me, works so well to make it just capture that imagery and that euphoric feeling, that dreamy feeling. The guitars paired so well, like the acoustic guitars paired so well with the vocals. The harmonizations of the vocals were really well done and just super clean and really kind of nice to listen to. The overall pads are really nice, and the drops themselves are like so euphoric with the saw waves and then the glitching. With some of the notes and the wubs and the melodies that answer the phrases are like insanely good as well. And then the structure of the song, just starting with the vocals right off the bat, emphasizing the vocals in the beginning break and kind of build up sections, and then having the vocal chops more in the drops, and then just going straight back into the vocals again in the second break, but having those vocals harmonized is like really like a nice touch, along with those acoustic guitars chord progressions going on in the song. So overall, I can't emphasize how much I really like the song. This is probably like my most favorite song from Crystal Skies. I've heard some Crystal Skies songs in the past, but this is the most notable one to me, and this is a song I would always come back to and listen to, whether I want to just zone out or I want to, have like a more emotional, euphoric feeling song just to kind of uplift me, I guess you can say. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Definitely check out Crystal Skies' other songs as well. Does a lot of melodic dubstep. So if you guys like melodic dubstep, Crystal Skies definitely would be within that realm of music. Tritonal, again, I've reviewed some of their songs, and they make really good progressive house. And with this song, it's just really nice to see how from day one song For the Stars, how much melodic dubstep kind of increased and just got better until this remix from Crystal Skies, which is already 2 years old from when I'm recording this video. So it's just kind of crazy seeing how like much has changed within at least the past 7-8 years of like melodic dubstep starting to take shape and form, and how much it captures the emotions now than it kind of did back in the past. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Like, comment, subscribe, those definitely help. If I missed anything, feel free to leave a comment, and otherwise I will see you guys in the next A Producer's Approach video. All right, have a good one, everyone. Peace.